What's up, guys? I'm the Wrestlegamer. Welcome back to Let's Play Time Tenshi 2 right here on the arcade. And for those of you who've been wondering why I haven't posted up a video in quite some time, is because of the fact that I wanted to go back and replay through the game, through the novel, with all the choices, the new choices intact, and I did. I'm just going to show you a couple of pictures here on the screen. The first screen, you get to one point in the story where you get to choose whether you go help Michelle or Tessa set up something, and I chose Tessa, and apparently Tessa wanted to show off her cosplay outfit. And as you guys can see on the screen, damn. And then, if you guys remember to the point where we were asked by Kyo to kind of massage Rose. Well, Rose decided to get comfortable, and lo and behold, check out this picture, and yeah. So, now that I've done that, I've gotten up to this point, which was in the last episode of hearing the alarms. So now that I've gone through the entire novel, again, with all of these special new choices intact, so we will be able to do it before, because I did have an original recording. I did have an original recording of it, but with all the difficulties and the inabilities to make all the choices that the special edition originally afforded us. So now I can do it. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Too startled and confused by my abrupt awakening, I very nearly tumbled to the floor before recovering. Huh? What the? Oh, please tell me this is Michelle finding some of those crystals. Not Bunny or Mizuki or Neferuri. Jumping up, I grabbed my shield and hurried out of my room. A quick dash down the hallway put me in the time window room, where I found Tensei and Michelle. What's going on? What's happened? Is it Bunny or Mizuki or... Relax, Kenshi, there's no sign of them. However... What's happening? Is there an emergency? I watched as Rose entered the time window room. Tessa wasn't far behind, and then Kyo arrived a few seconds later. Is it Mizuki and Bunny again? Or the royal pain? Relax, all of you. We actually have some good news. We've been scanning for the crystals needed to make the 4D lenses, and we found some. A huge swell of relief coursed through me, and it was clear that the other girls felt the same. As we calmed down, our minds were turning to business. So, where are the crystals? And when? That's the tricky part. Our sensors are registering 3 confirmed hits, and 1 possible hit, all at the same time. Wait, what? So what does that mean? Which one are we going to go for? As many as we possibly can. But I need to warn you that from what we've learned, the crystals are in a constant state of flux between the 3rd and 4th dimensions. That's why it's so hard to find them. So there's a chance we won't be able to secure all of the crystals we're detecting. That's right, so we'll have to move fast. So when and where are the crystals? According to these readings, the first batch is located at Stonehenge in the late 14th century. The second hit is in the Ryukyu Islands in Japan, early 16th century. The third one is at the Mesa Verde cliff dwellings in the early 13th century. And Michelle trailed off, an unhappy expression on her face. And the fourth one? The fourth one is the one we can't get a confirmed lock on. It's in ancient Egypt, the 15th century BC. 15th century Egypt. But that's the same time period from where Neferuri was taken from, exactly. In fact, our readings indicate that the crystals, if there are any, have manifested in a period of time that occurs shortly after you girls and the others originally left. It's possible that they were somehow drawn to that location by our time traveling. Or maybe Neferuri's absence in the past is having some kind of negative effect. There's no way of knowing for sure. One thing is certain, we can't be sure how long we have until the crystals disappear from our plane of existence again, which means we have to move fast. Right. So, how do we do this? Are we gonna need special equipment for this or something? Fortunately, no. Once you find the crystals, all you have to do is grab them. The quantum sheets that surround you will let you bring the crystals fully into our plane of existence and bring them back here. All you need is a bag to put the specimens in. Tenshi began handing out some small pouches that he had on hand. Now then, Kenji. Yes? I'd rather avoid sending any of you unaccompanied if at all possible, so I want you to go with one of the girls to one of the confirmed locations. Now, Rose, Kyo, Tessa, given how physically stressful time travel is for women, I don't want any of you going through the time window any more than you absolutely have to. So we'll send one of you along with Kenji to one of the targets, so you can retrieve the crystals and then return. That way they should each get a chance to rest and recover from their trips back in time. Okay, but there are 4 target times and only 3 of them. So what do we do? The reading in Egypt is the weakest. Given how hard traveling back in time was for the girls, we might have to let that one go. Okay, so which of us goes when and where? Rose, I want you to go to Stonehenge. Since you're from England, you'll be the most familiar with the lay of the land. Kyo, you'll take the Ryukyu Islands for the same reason. You're Japanese. You're just like the islands. That leaves the Mesa Verde Mesa Verde cliff dwellings for Tessa. I'm sorry, I can't read. Alright, but what if we run into Bunny and Mizuki? We'll be constantly scanning the time stream. If there's any indication that they might show up, we'll let you know. But no matter what, I want you to avoid contact with them if at all possible. And I certainly don't want you fighting them. Given what happened when you confronted Neferuri. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm in no hurry to get wadded up into a footbag. That leaves just one question. Which location should we go to first? Well, okay, we're not going to skip the choices here. So, let's go with Tessa first. I feel like the Mesa Verde cliff dwellings might be the best place to start. It's further back than the 2 of the others, so if Mizuki or Bunny come after some of these crystals, they're probably going to choose the ones that are closer to their time. Good thinking, Kenji. Michelle, set coordinates for the Mesa Verde cliff dwellings. Kenji, Tessa, be careful, just in case. You got it, Tensei. Ready, Ken? Ready as I'll ever be. Coordinates are set. I'm raising the shield and opening the time window. Now. True to Michelle's word, the light of the time window filled the room an instant later. Averting my eyes, I heard the sound of the shield lifting up and felt a hand on my shoulder. Now, alright, let's go before Murphy's Law decides to kick in on us. Tessa marched boldly up to the portal. I was quick to follow, and soon we both left the 3-dimensional plane behind. In this place was the impossible tunnel between times filled with color and chaos. Once again struggling to adjust to this place and its utter impossibility, I glanced over at Tessa. Is something wrong? Aside from the fact that I'm about to get a boob job that I don't want, and that's about as uncomfortable and useless as it can be? Sure, I'm just dandy. Sorry, Ken. This is just so stupid. I hate this part of the job. It makes me feel like some brainless ditz whose only reason for existing is so that a bunch of drooling, slavering morons can stare at our goodies. Speaking of which... Oh boy. Wincing in sympathy, I watched as Tessa grabbed at her breasts, which had basically leapt up into her top and were already swelling mightily. As I stared on helplessly, her expanding assets blasting through one cup size after another, and long before her top was groaning in protest just like the girl wearing it. You want me to close my eyes, or? Tessa sighed, trying to ignore the fact that her breasts were pressing so hard against the heart-shaped window in her top that it seemed like they were going to overflow it. You looking away won't stop these stupid things from inflating like balloons. I just really hate that my body's basically a plaything for a perverted father time. Relax, it shouldn't be much longer now. In fact, before I could finish my sentence, we were released from the impossible corridor in time. And in its place, we found ourselves standing beneath a stone cliff. Nearby were a series of buildings made of bricks the same color as the cliffs, and they were hidden beneath. And nearby were many of what I assumed to be Native Americans, all of them busy going about their lives and doing whatever they did naturally. Uh-oh, busted. Tessa raised her pom-poms and changed them into morning stars, but as she took a battle-ready stance, I held out my hand in front of her. No, wait, it's all right. They can't see us. We're invisible to non-time travelers, remember? A beat passed as Tessa darted a confused glance my way, blinking a few times in bewilderment, just before she groaned and reverted her weapons back into pom-poms. Oh, right, yeah, forgot about that one. Relax, I might not have remembered it myself. I mean, this is, what, your second trip through time? Yeah, good point. Alright, let's find those crystals and get out of Dodge before Bonnie and Clyde show up to make our lives difficult, not to mention a heck of a lot shorter. Now, let's see, according to Sensei, our communicators should be able to zero in on these crystals, and... yes, just got a hit. From over that way. With an eager grin, Tessa started towards a nearby ladder. I followed close behind, making certain to avoid jostling any of the natives. As we continued through the cliff dwellings, I found it difficult to keep up with Tessa. Despite having to navigate around the natives, the pink-haired girl maintained a brisk pace. And as I continued to look at her, I noticed that the grin never left her face. You certainly seem excited about finding those crystals. Guess there's something about this job that you like. Pausing at this, Tessa looked my way. And with her cheeks turning pink as well, she gave a sheepish shrug. Yeah, okay, I admit it. This job definitely has its upsides. It's certainly more exciting than managing the warehouse Tensei had me set up in. Besides, this is kind of like being the hero in one of my comics or mangas. You know, the brave adventuress and her trusted partner traveling through time to find the MacGuffin before the well-intentioned crazies ruin the world. Granted, this would be a lot more like those comics if we could actually fight the opposition without them being able to thrash us just by powering up or whatever. Despite everything, I couldn't help but chuckle as I continued to follow Tessa. Yeah, I think I know what you mean. This whole situation just seems so incredible. In fact, there may have been a few times when I've woken up and wondered if this whole business with the time window and all the rest of it was nothing but a crazy dream. And to be honest, there's a lot about this I still don't get. Where these chrono crystals came from, how Neferubi was able to speak English, and all the rest of it, there's just so much that we don't know. I heard that, to be honest, though my brain pretty much just broke when it turned out that time travel results in outsized jugs. Understanding that all too well, I followed Tessa up the ladder. Pardon me. We ascended towards one of the uppermost structures, making our way past the natives of the time. And there we found some of the strange fourth-dimensional crystals clustered together above one of the causeways and floating in midair. Tessa, look over there! Yes, home run! Come on, Ken, let's grab those little beauties and get out of here. Tessa pumped her fist as she darted towards the floating gems, with me a short distance behind. Moments later, she was kneeling down next to the crystals and eagerly shoving them into a pouch. I winced as I wondered if these things were safe to touch, but then I realized we already had some of the gems. Deciding that Tensei wouldn't have sent us after them if they weren't in any way harmful, I bent down next to Tessa and started to help her. But before we even had half of those chrono crystals secured, a chorus of happy giggles prompted us to look up. And to our dismay, we saw several of the local children running our way. Uh-oh, we better move. We might be invisible, but we're not intangible. Got it. Tessa and I quickly rose to our feet and backed away from the floating crystals. I found myself wondering what would happen when one of the children bumped into the prized gems as I pressed my back up against the wall. As Tessa and I looked on, the leading child crashed through the remaining crystals and, to my surprise, passed through them without even noticing anything was wrong, as did the child behind him and those that followed. Wow, so even if we're not intangible, the crystals are. At least they're intangible to non-time travelers, and... Ugh. Jolted from my thoughts by Tessa's cry, I looked up in time to see her toppling over the edge. In her efforts to get as far out from the children's path as possible, she had taken a step too far and was now hanging over the edge, flailing her arms desperately in an attempt to regain her balance. Tessa! I reached out to grab her hand, but was ultimately too late. And with a fearful cry, Tessa fell from sight. The next things I hear were a loud thunk and a pained groan. Tessa! Hang on, I'll be right down. Kenji, wait! Starting at the sound of Michelle's voice, I think I should be startling at the sound of Michelle's voice, I looked down at my wrist to see her avatar, an avatar that was looking at me hard. Don't forget the crystals. Until you grabbed and pulled them completely into our dimensional plane, they're still in flux. And they could fade back into the fourth dimension at any second. But Tessa, I've still got a lock on her and she's moving. It doesn't look too bad. You can tend to her later. Besides, those crystals are vital. We need every single one we can get. Which means you have to get them now. Scowling at the thought of just turning my back on someone who had just been injured, I was brought back to the moment when I heard Tessa calling out. I'm alright, Ken. Ow. Well, maybe not alright, but I'll certainly live long enough for you to finish up the job. And, I think I dropped the bag up there. Do you see it? Oh. Here it is. I've got it. Great. Then grab the crystals and then we can... Ow. Tessa? Yeah. Would you mind moving, Ken? Cause I'm definitely gonna need some help here. Not liking the sound of this at all, I quickly grabbed up the pouch and its load of crystals. Then I dashed back to where the remaining ones still floated and hurriedly scooped them in to join their fellows. With the precious cargo secured, I then started down the ancient structure. Taking care to avoid the natives and a repeat of Tessa's mishap, I climbed down the various ladders and so on as I made my way towards her. Tessa, I've got the crystals and I'm heading towards you. Talk to me so I can be sure that I'm heading in the right direction. Sure, if you don't mind me talking about how stupid this is. Also, you better brace yourself because I kinda ripped my outfit. Ripped it? How? But before Tessa could say anything, I rounded a bend and was finally able to spot her. Yeah, that's a rip. Oh boy. And pink seems to really be her color. Tessa's top had been severely damaged in the fall. That's an understatement. I don't know how exactly she had managed to do it, but the front of her time suit had been shredded, revealing her considerable chest as well as her lacy pink bra. Oh. Yeah, this is one of the exact reasons why I didn't want a boob window in my outfit. Wincing in sympathy, I made my way over to Tessa, who was lying on the ground in obvious pain. As I looked at her battered body closer, I noticed that her ankle was bloodied and appeared to be swelling. You look pretty beat up. Michelle, open the time window. We need to get her out of here. Already on it. A moment later, a familiar light drilled through the air, carving out the tunnel that led between times. Tessa nodded and tried to get up, but before she could do so, I put my hand on her shoulder and shook my head. Sorry, Tessa, but I don't think you should move. Not with that ankle. I wasn't planning on doing it by myself, but if you could just lend me your shoulder, then I should be able to. That's not what I had in mind. Here. I knelt down and slid my hands beneath Tessa's bruised frame. She squawked in protest as I gently lifted her up off the ground. Wait, kid, I can do this myself. I know you can, but I don't think you should have to try. Right now you're injured, and we can't afford to have you making your injuries even worse. I mean, I might not be able to help you in a fight, but I can at least take care of you from here and now. So please, let me help you, okay? Tessa didn't say anything to this, and to be honest, I could understand. Given her past, I knew that she had to hate being the one who was dependent upon somebody else. But just as I was trying to think of some way to make her feel better, her cheeks colored slightly and she lowered her eyes a little. Well, okay. Okay. This is a mistake. I'm pointing this out right here. This should be Tessa saying this. Tessa. Not Tensei. Tessa. You guys seeing what I'm seeing? You're seeing the mistake besides the fact there's a pink anime girl in her bra and panties right in front of you? I guess I can let you carry me around this time. But I hope you realize that this isn't going to be a recurring thing. Got that? Of course, I never said it would. Okay, now it's Tessa again. So, let's get out of here already. Oh, and Ken, do me a favor and don't mention this to the dits. Tessa, don't forget that Kyo's here in the time window room. And she can see and hear everything that's going on. Crap. Don't worry about Kyo, let's just get you back home and fixed up, okay? Okay, sure. Her cheeks still a shade of pink, Tessa relaxed a little in my arms, allowing me to head through the opening in time and space and leave the past behind. The next few days passed with the girls and I going back in time over and over again in order to retrieve as many of the chrono crystals as possible. So, on that note, guys and girls, I'm going to go ahead and call it an episode. If you guys like the video, be sure to slam that like button like a champ. And if you guys want to see more of Time Tenshi 2 here on the arcade, you know the way to do it. Gotta hit that subscribe button down below. And hopefully on the next episode, we won't find any more mistakes, but more than likely we will. I mean, if we found a mistake here with Tensei's name being in place of Tessa's, then more than likely we're going to see some more mistakes. So, with that being said, I'm your friendly neighborhood Wrestlegamer, and I will see you next time right here on WGS-TV. Bye, guys!